The City of Vandalia Council meeting for July 17th, 2017 will now come to order. We'll have a moment of reflection followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, you've had the opportunity to look at the minutes from our council study session of June the 19th, our council meeting minutes of June the 19th, and the council special meeting of July the 8th. Are there any revisions to be made with those? Seeing not, they'll stand approved. This evening, we have a very special proclamation for Tim Townsend, and so if he would please come forward. Okay. Tim, we have a proclamation here for you. And I'm going to read it. And I'm going to have to stand here because this is the mic, okay? All right. Whereas the City of Vandalia strives to recognize and honor those who have contributed to the betterment of this community by volunteering to serve on local boards and commissions, and Tim has been a Vandalia citizen for nearly half a century, making Vandalia his home in January of 1969 with his wife, Joanne. And Tim fell in love with the community and made the decision to immerse himself in civic involvement after attending a Butler High School basketball game, only 3 days after setting up housekeeping, even though he knew not a soul. And Tim is as an employee of the Ohio Board of Employment Services, Tim had a unique perspective and understanding of the importance of the civil service process. And in 1977, Vandalia's Civil Service Commission also oversaw employment matters for the Vandalia Butler City Schools, entitling an appointment to the commission by the Vandalia Butler Board of Education. And the Board of Education selected Tim Townsend to serve as a Vandalia Civic Service Commissioner exactly 40 years ago, with City Council approving his appointment on July the 18th, 1977. And since that time, Tim has faithfully participated in countless meetings and hearings and has served to render fair and well-considered decisions concerning the employment of hundreds of Vandalia employees. Now, therefore, I, Arlene Setzer, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Vandalia, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, July 18th, 2017, Tim Townsend Day in the City of Vandalia, and call upon our citizens and employees to show their appreciation to Tim for his long-standing involvement, wise and thoughtful decisions making, and undefined dedication to the Vandalia community. You're welcome. Thank you, and congratulations. But Tim is a unique individual because it was 40 years. Joanne and family, do you want to come up here with him and to get your picture taken and everything? What we have done is we have a special little gift because this is something, 40 years. When was it that you came to me and you said, you know, I think I'm the oldest person, or had the longest, excuse me, not the oldest, certainly.
I'm the oldest.
Come on. But he has served the longest of anybody on any of our commissions or boards and everything. So we do, and we wanted to recognize you, and this is an appreciation of your dedicated service to our city. So there that is, too. So thank you very much. Would you like to say some words, Tim?
Well, I've been through a lot of city managers.
Oh, okay.
And as the years progressed, they got better and better at holding down meetings because they were better trained in how to handle disciplinary problems.
Okay.
When we first started, the city was losing all the time, and I can't remember the last time the city lost.
Okay.
Because they've all gotten so much better.
So in other words, you don't attend that many more meetings now? Okay.
We make a lot of lists and take names off. put
Okay,
names on.
okay.
That's sort of
That's basically what we're doing now. And-
Well-
And Julie, she's the greatest. She is.
Well, super. Well, congratulations to all of you, and tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's the day. We also have some special guests in our audience this evening, and that's Girl Scout Troop 32513. They're all sitting down here, and before our workshop this evening, we had the opportunity, they had the opportunity to meet with me, and we just sort of discussed some things, and I'm sure that after tonight's meeting, they might have further questions. So, very unique opportunity for me, and of course for them too. So, welcome. So that brings us to public hearings, which we have none, and now we go to comments from interested citizens. So if there's someone here who would be interested in making comment to us, please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records and your statement. Seeing none, we will continue on then with our agenda. And we go to the city manager's report, and we have no information items this evening, but we do have an action item. Mr. Cruzy?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. So we have received a request for a one-year extension until August 8th of 2018 to complete the construction of sidewalks for 5 lots in a Brown Schoolwood subdivision, Section 4.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the extension of time for Brown School Village, Section 4, and the new deadline will be August 8th, 2018, with the performance bond in place as it is now.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Farr, second by Councilman Blakesley, that we do approve the extension of time for Brown School Village, Section 4. Are there any questions or comments about that? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. We have no old business, but we have a number of resolutions this evening, starting out with Resolution 17-R-65. Mr. McDonald, would you please read it, the title only?
Resolution 17R65, a resolution awarding the bid for the Kenbrook Drive Water Main Replacement Project, requested by the Public Works Department to Durst Brothers Excavating at the lowest and best bid price of $350,434.
Thank you, Mr. Cruzy.
Thank you, Your Honor. So bids for the Kenbrook Water Main Replacement Project were open on July 11th, with 8 bids being received. Bids range from $350,434 to $396,925. The budget for the project is $400,000. Financial assistance from the Ohio Public Works Commission was approved in the form of a 25% grant and a 25% 5-year 0% loan. The project was designed in-house as part of our in-kind contribution.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Your Honor, I move that we approve Resolution 17R65 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Lewis, second by Councilman Herbst, that we do approve Resolution 17-R-65 as presented. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Resolution 17-R-66. Mr. McDonald?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of 26 Panasonic body-worn cameras and required support equipment requested by the Information Technology Department on behalf of the Police Department from CDW Government, Inc. at government procurement contract pricing amounts totaling $53,314.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. $60,000 is budgeted for the purchase of police body cameras and ancillary equipment. The Vandalia Police Department utilizes Panasonic Arbitrator in-car cameras for its patrol vehicles, which records both audio and video. The police department is recommending the purchase of the Panasonic body-worn cameras since they're the only camera that will integrate fully with the department's current system. So this resolution does authorize the purchase of 26 Panasonic body-worn cameras along with associated storage and software.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 17R66.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Blakesley, second by Councilwoman Farce, that we do approve Resolution 17-R-66. Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Resolution 17-R-67, Mr. McDonald.
A resolution authorizing the city manager or his designee to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission state capital improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and authorizing additional action as necessary for the city to participate in such programs with respect to the Skyview Drive water main replacement project.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So applications for the next round of Ohio Public Works Commission funds are due August 23rd. The Skyview Water Main Replacement Project is from Lockheed Drive to the east end of the street. This section of water main is over 60 years old and has experienced 12 water main breaks since we began keeping records in 1970. The project involves the replacement of 1,300 linear feet of 6-inch water main with a new 8-inch main at a cost of $200,000. Engineering will be completed in-house. The city is requesting a $50,000 grant and a $50,000 5-year 0% interest loan.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 17-R-67 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Herbst, second by Councilman Ehlers, that we do approve Resolution 17-R-67 as presented. Questions? Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Resolution 17-R-68. Mr. McDonald.
A resolution authorizing the city manager or his designee to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission state capital improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and authorizing additional action as necessary for the city to participate in such programs with respect to the Foley Drive Street Reconstruction Project.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Phase 1 of the Foley Drive Reconstruction Project is from National Road to Bristol Drive, encompassing 1,700 linear feet. The street was built in 1954. There have been 9 water main breaks since 1970, as well as a couple sanitary sewer issues. The project involves the replacement of all utilities, curb and gutter, and the street. The estimated cost for this project is $765,000 plus engineering. The funds will come from the Water Fund, the Sewer Fund, the Stormwater Fund, and the Police Fire Street CIP Fund. The application request is a $200,000 grant and a $200,000 5-year 0% interest loan.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance 17R-68.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Ehlers, second by Vice Mayor Lewis, that we do approve Resolution 17-R-68. Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Gerhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Now we go on to our ordinances. First reading, that's ordinance 17-22. Mr. McDonald.
An ordinance approving a major amendment for the property located at 352 East National Road and owned by Burger King Corporation in the downtown business district with a PUD overlay.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Burger King is requesting an amendment to the downtown business PUD to accommodate a major exterior remodeling. The renovation would include the removal of the mansard roof, updates to the interior and exterior of the building, removal of the outdoor seating area along the west side of the building, a new drive-through clearance structure, and a new dumpster enclosure. Proposed building signage does conform to the signage requirements in the downtown district. The existing freestanding pole sign, while it was granted a size variance back in 1997, it was not granted a height variance and is therefore non-conforming. The downtown PUD requires a maximum setback of 15 feet. The existing building currently has a setback of 33 feet. In order to bring the existing building into compliance, it would require an 18-foot addition onto the front of the building. Staff recognizes the difficulty of putting that sort of addition onto the front of the building and recommends other modifications that might be appropriate to bring the building closer to meeting the intent of the downtown business district. Pedestrian scale elements could be added to enhance the site, including a front patio for outdoor seating, landscape mounting to soften the off-street parking area from the public right-of-way, installing perimeter landscaping around the entire parking area, or providing interior landscaping utilizing the existing islands. Staff feels that the replacement of the non-conforming 20-foot tall pole sign with a 6-foot tall freestanding monument sign would serve as a pedestrian scale enhancement. The Planning Commission reviewed this matter it reviewed this matter and voted 4-0 to recommend approval subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the freestanding pole sign be replaced with a 6-foot tall freestanding monument sign with the base of exposed brick or stone. The site to be brought into compliance with the minimum materials and standards requirement wherever possible through the installation of interior landscaping utilizing existing parking lot peninsula and perimeter landscaping of the off-street parking area, which should include mounding, trees, and shrubs, and that pedestrian scale elements be added to the building in lieu of bringing the building into conformance with the required setback through the installation of a front patio to enhance the streetscape.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Your Honor, I'll move that we approve ordinance 17-22, subject to the Planning Commission comments.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Lewis, second by Councilman Blakesley, that we do approve ordinance 17-22 along with the, or additional
In
comment-
addition to, with the Planning Commission comments.
in addition to the Planning Commission comments. Got it. Questions? Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
And just a point for clarification,
Sure.
the Planning Commission comments have been incorporated directly into what you're approving tonight. So we've drafted that into
One
it.
trumps the other. I'll take the direct comments. That's fine.
I'm sorry, roll call? I forgot
Yes,
where I was.
yeah.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Ordinance 17-23. Mr. McDonald?
An ordinance rezoning part of the property generally located at the southwest corner of Old Springfield Road and Deer Run Road from Office Industrial Park OIP to Industrial I and amending the zoning map of the city.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy, sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. CSX Realty Development is requesting a rezoning of approximately 33.86 acres in the Northwoods Business Park along Top Notch Court from Office Industrial Park zoning to industrial zoning. The 2000 Comprehensive Plan's future land use map designates this area as industrial. Therefore, the rezoning request is consistent with the future land use map's designation for this site. Planning Commission reviewed this rezoning request at its June 13th meeting and voted 4-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Move that we approve ordinance 17-23 in its first reading.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Ehlers, second by Councilman Gerhart, that we do approve ordinance 17-23 in its first reading. Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. We have some ordinances in their second reading, and the first one is ordinance 17-17. Mr. McDonald?
Ordinance 1717, an ordinance rezoning part of the property generally located at the northeast corner of I-75 and Northwoods Boulevard from Office Industrial Park OIP to Highway Business HP and amending the zoning map of the city.
Thank you, I want to call you Mr. McDonald. Mr. Cruzy, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. So CSX Realty Development is requesting a rezoning of approximately 5.46 acres located at the northeast corner of I-75 and Northwoods Boulevard from office industrial park zoning to highway business zoning. The 1985 Comprehensive Plan's future land use map projects this area for office industrial park development, which matches its current zoning. The future land use map also projects the shops at Northwoods Plaza for office industrial park zoning. However, that was rezoned to gateway business back in 2001. The zoning code establishes standards for zoning map amendments, which states that the Planning Commission shall not recommend the adoption of a proposed amendment unless it finds that the adoption of such an amendment is in the public interest and not solely for the interest of the applicant. The Planning Commission reviewed this rezoning request at its May 23rd meeting and voted 3-0 to recommend denial.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Your Honor, I'll move that we.
Oh, wait a minute, excuse me, this is second reading. I'm sorry, I had to cut
ahead.
you off. This is an ordinance in its second reading, which means that we have a public hearing. So if there's anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this ordinance in its second reading, please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records and your statement. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And Vice Mayor Lewis, do you still want to?
Chip in.
Uh-huh.
I move that we deny ordinance 1717 in its second reading.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Lewis, second by Councilman Herbst, that we deny ordinance 1717 in its second reading. Any comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Stetzer.
Yes, and the vote is 7-0 to deny the ordinance 1717 in its second reading. We have ordinance 1718. Mr. McDonald?
1718, an ordinance approving a planned unit development final development plan for Lot 3 of the 40 West development, formerly referred to as the Vandalia Office Park, and located at 205 West National Road.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So HealthCore LLC has submitted a PUD final development plan for Lot 3 of the 40 West development. The proposed 8,000 square foot medical office building will house 2 tenants, with Dr. Volk being the primary tenant. The exterior of the building will be similar to the PriMed building currently under construction. Access to this building will be provided via a shared ingress-egress easement between this building and the PriMed building. The applicant is proposing 3 25 square foot wall signs, where only 1 wall sign per tenant is permitted for a multi-tenant building. The request is for each tenant to have a wall sign in addition to a building identification sign on the south facade facing National Road. The Planning Commission reviewed this final development plan at its May 23rd meeting and voted 3-0 to recommend approval subject to the following conditions. The first is that the parties agree to the uses that will be permitted on the property, and those are the uses that were placed on the plat restriction that was approved by City Council. Number 2 was regarding providing a list of cost estimates for public and private improvements. That has already been complied with. Number 3 is that a dumpster enclosure must comply with the requirements of the city code and be complementary color and material to the primary structure. And 4, that the applicant be limited to 1 wall sign per tenant for a total of 2 signs, not to exceed the requirement that are set forth in the sign code for the office service zoning district.
Thank you very much. This also is an ordinance in its second reading, and so I will open up a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and then your comment? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I move that we approve ordinance 17-18 in its second reading.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Ehlers, second by Councilman Blakesley, that we do approve ordinance 17-18 in its second reading. Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Stetzer.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Ordinance 17-19, Mr. McDonald.
An ordinance authorizing an adjustment to the boundary line between the City of Dayton, Ohio and the City of Vandalia, Ohio by agreement of both municipalities pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 709.37.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So a proposal from the City of Dayton has been received for a boundary line adjustment for a 1.1432 acre parcel located on the north side of National Road between Airport Access Road and Concord Drive. The subject parcel was located within the City of Vandalia, but it is owned by the City of Dayton and surrounded on three sides by the City of Dayton. The requested boundary adjustment would change the corporate boundary line to remove the parcel from the City of Vandalia and place it within the City of Dayton. Per the terms of the accompanying intergovernmental agreement, the City of Dayton would pay the City of Vandalia $34,296 or $30,000 per acre as compensation for the boundary adjustment.
Thank you. Once again, since this is an ordinance in its second reading, I will open up a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and then your comment. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 1719.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Blakesley, second by Councilman Gerhardt, that we do approve ordinance 1719 in its second reading. Any comments from anyone? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Gerhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. Ordinance 17-20. Mr. McDonald?
An ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances and certain resolutions as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances, providing for the adoption and publication of new matter in the updated and revised codified ordinances, and repealing ordinances and resolutions in conflict therewith.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So this ordinance codifies certain ordinances and resolutions that have been passed by council since the last update of the codified ordinances. This update will codify all pertinent legislation passed by council during 2016, as well as incorporating amendments to the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you. Once again, this is an ordinance in its second reading. I will open up a public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and your comment. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I move that we approve ordinance 17-20 in its second reading.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Farr, second by Councilman Ehlers, that we do approve ordinance 17-20 in its second reading. Any comments from anyone? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. This evening we have some emergency ordinances, starting with emergency ordinance 17-14. Mr. McDonald?
1714, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of notes in the maximum principal amount of $1,514,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of acquiring approximately 201 acres of real property bounded generally by U.S. Route 40, Peters Pike, Stone Quarry Road, and Dogleg Road in support of economic development and job creation within the city and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So the purchase of land and the construction of infrastructure for Stone Quarry crossings has been financed since 2006 by the issuance of bond anticipation notes that must be renewed annually. The total amount currently due is $2,039,000 plus $40,000 or $40,667 in interest. Due to the sale of proceeds from the Morton site and Independent Can, a total of $525,000 will be paid toward the principal balance. Therefore, the remaining principal balance of notes will be $1,514,000. The notes are due to be issued August 10th. Therefore, council is asked to consider this ordinance as an emergency.
Thank you. Since this is an emergency ordinance, I will open up public hearing. And so if there's anyone in our audience who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and your comment. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I make a motion we approve ordinance 17-14 as an emergency.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Gerhardt, second by Councilman Ehlers, that we do approve the emergency ordinance 17-14. Any comments from anyone? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Emergency ordinance 1715, Mr. McDonald.
1715, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of notes in the maximum principal amount of $3,259,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of refunding bonds originally issued by the city for the purpose of paying cost of A, improving the municipal complex by constructing, equipping, and improving a justice center to house the courts and the police department and related activities, renovating, equipping, and improving the municipal building, constructing related parking facilities, and acquiring real property and interest therein in connection therewith, altogether with the necessary appurtenances thereto, and B, constructing, equipping, and furnishing a municipal community recreation center, including a gymnasium, swimming pool, track, fitness area, lockers, offices, and other recreational and related support facilities, altogether with the necessary appurtenances thereto, and acquiring real property and interest therein in connection therewith, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you.
Very good.
Did you have anything to add, Mr. Cruzy?
Very little.
Okay.
Well, okay, so the bond anticipation notes related to the 1996 bonds that were issued for the Rec Center, Justice Center, and municipal building projects are due to mature on September 7th. And these notes are scheduled to be retired in 2021. So the total amount due is $4,076,000 in principal plus $71,132 in interest. The 2017 budget did appropriate funds of $817,000 to pay towards the principal plus the interest payment. Therefore, a remaining balance will be $3,259,000. Again, these notes are going to be issued in combination with the fire truck notes that the council is going to consider next in order to save cost. And again, this ordinance is asked to be considered as an emergency.
Okay, thank you. Since this is an emergency ordinance, I'm going to open up a public hearing. So if there's anyone in our audience who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and give your comment. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Move that we approve ordinance 17-15 as an emergency.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Ayler, second by Vice Mayor Lewis, that we do approve ordinance 1715 as an emergency. Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Ehlers?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhard?
Yes.
Councilmember Farce?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Emergency ordinance 17-16, Mr. McDonald.
An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of notes in the maximum principal amount of $432,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bond for the purpose of paying the cost of acquiring a fire apparatus, together with all related appurtenances thereto, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. So the city issued notes in 2016 for the purchase of a new fire rescue engine. The principal amount due is $480,000. The 2017 budget includes $48,000 towards principal and $8,377 in interest. So the remaining principal balance will be $432,000. Again, the fire truck notes will be combined with the Rec Center, Justice Center notes to save money on the issuance cost. And again, this ordinance is asked to be considered as an emergency.
Thank you. Since this is an emergency ordinance, I will open up public hearing. So if there's anyone in our audience who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and your comment. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I move that we approve ordinance 17-21 as an emergency.
I think 17.
Oh, I'm sorry.
17-16.
Second.
I'm sorry, 17-16
Second.
as an emergency.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilwoman Farr, second by Councilman Gerhardt, that we do approve the second reading ordinance 17-16. Any comments? Pardon me? As an emergency. Okay. Anybody? Comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Setzer.
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. Emergency ordinance 17-21. Mr. McDonald, is that right?
Yes.
Ms. McDonald?
1721, an ordinance amending Chapter 618 Animals of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Vandalia by adding Section 1618.20, providing for the trap, neuter, and release programs and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Since this is an emergency ordinance, I will open up a public hearing. So if there's anyone in the audience who would like to make comment, would you please come to the podium, state your name and address for our records, and then your comment? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 17-21 as emergency.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Gerhardt, second by Councilman Blakesley, that we do approve ordinance 17-21 as an emergency. Any comments?
I believe the reason for the difference in the numbers, such a spread there, is because we amended this. It just occurred to me, I believe that's why the confusion for the number sequence.
Yeah, I thought about that after we got started.
I think it just clarifies what our intent was to allow the trap, neuter, and release program.
Exactly.
And this just makes it officially part of the law.
I did hear from people in one neighborhood that appreciated having it work on from that angle also. So that was an added benefit.
Anyone else? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Gerhardt,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Setzer.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. We have some reports from our boards and commissions, and with that, we have a variance request at 839 Steuville Drive. Mr. Bruzy?
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir Robert Gibson, 839 Steuville Drive, is requesting a variance to allow the construction of a 6-foot by 15-foot aluminum patio cover over an existing concrete patio. The property is located in the residential single-family 4 zoning district. It requires a front yard setback of 35 feet. It does allow architectural features, such as patio covers, that are permitted to encroach into the front yard setback no more than 3 feet. The existing home has a front yard setback of 29 feet, which is in line with the other properties on the street. The proposed patio cover would extend 6 feet into the front yard in addition to the existing 2-foot overhang, thereby having a 21-foot front yard setback where 32 feet is the minimum allowed. The BZA did review this variance request at its June 14th meeting and voted 5-0 to recommend approval.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Your Honor, I move that we approve the variance request at 839 Steuville Drive.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Lewis, second by Councilman Blakesley, that we do approve the variance request at 839 Steuville Drive. Any comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Herbst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Setzer.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. We also have a variance request at 792 Foxfire Trail. Mr. Cruzy?
And I will defer to the law director on this matter.
Thank you.
As council know, the BZA had recommended denial. The BZA analysis under the zoning code was correct. However, under the federal laws, the city is required to undergo a different analysis, and this was provided to council after the BZA meeting, but before tonight, and it was discussed at the work session.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
I move
Oh,
that.
and,
Whoa, wait a minute. I have it from both sides.
I don't care.
No, I don't care either, but you basically started out exactly the same
I'll make a
time.
motion, we approve the variance request at 792 Foxfire Trail.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Gerhardt, second by Councilman Ehlers, that we do approve the variance request at 792 Foxfire Trail. Any comments? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Herbst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Setzer.
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. We have a number of minutes, starting out with the Board of Zoning Appeals minutes of June the 14th, the Board of Zoning Appeals minutes of June the 28th, the Civil Service draft minutes of June the 29th, the Golf Advisory Board draft minutes of June the 27th, Planning Commission minutes of June the 13th, Planning Commission minutes of June the 27th, Public Art and Vandalia draft minutes of June the 20th, then the Vandalia Cultural Arts Committee draft minutes of June the 20th. The bill listing for June 2017 is in the amount of $3,279,432.26. And that brings us to council comments, beginning with Mr. McDonald.
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Cruzy?
Just one item. I just want to let council know, if you haven't already been informed, that Bo Townsend Ford is having their grand reopening this Friday at 2 o'clock. I didn't put that in your Friday letter, so I wanted to remind council.
Okay, thank you. Let's start out with Councilman Gerhardt.
Just want to congratulate or thank Steve Clark and the Park and Recs people and everybody who contributed to it, the car dealerships. But another great Star Spangled celebration. I've gone for years. The fireworks are getting better and better, and it was well attended, I thought. So thank you, Steve.
Is that all?
That's it.
Okay. Councilman Ayers?
I'd just like to ditto what Mr. Gerhardt said. I also attended the 4th of July celebration. It was well attended. It was weather was great, good band, and I think it was a good time had by all. So it was very, very nice evening.
Thank you. Councilman Herbst?
Nothing tonight.
Councilman Blakesley?
Just other than I saw the Girl Scouts wiggling a little bit, but they stuck through the meeting, and hopefully you learned something, and good job. That's all.
Thank you. Councilman Fires?
Just a couple things. It's been a while since we saw the fireworks. It seems it should be shorter, but I was able to attend after ours in other cities, and ours were really, really good. So it's nice to see that. Also, when we were going through our agenda tonight, there was a lot on there, and I just invite people to come to our workshops because you get a sense of all the detail that goes into coming up with the numbers and the research done. And one of them is the body-worn cameras, which we didn't really talk about tonight in our workshop because the subject came up at our workshops last year when we made all the decisions for the budget for 2017. So we made a decision at that time that we were going to go with at least attempting to do the body-worn cameras. And so, 4 weeks ago, we got a presentation from our staff explaining all the research they'd done and the comparison of prices. And so there's so much history that goes back into every one of these decisions. And I know we come out here and we go bam, 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 and they go by quickly, but there's a tremendous amount of hours that go into researching those and giving us that information. So just made it clearer tonight when we're going through all these zillion different ideas. So also, I wanted to give my condolences. Here, I get this way every time I do something. To Holly Wiggins, who's our DP&L rep, lost her husband last week. And so I want to say how much we're thinking about her. She's part of our family that comes and visits us and represents DP&L to our staff. And I think it was a very, very shocking and sad situation. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank all of you, and I'm not going to repeat, but please ditto your comments from me for this evening. And with that, it is recommended the council adjourn to executive session to discuss the possible acquisition of real property. So I need a motion, and you can vote on that then.
So moved, Your Honor.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Lewis, second by Councilman Ehlers, that we do adjourn to executive session. And with that, may I have a roll call? I'm sorry. I'm going to say that after. Yeah, that's okay.
Councilmember Herbst? Councilmember Ehlers? Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Gerhardt? Councilmember Farce? Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Setzer?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. I also want to remind everybody that we are now going back to our study session because even though we discussed a lot already this evening, we still have some other items to cover. So we will do that in addition to the executive session. Okay, thank you, everybody.